So what I want to show you today is probably one of the best lessons I've ever got for guitar playing. It's a series of exercises, mainly that are called trills with held notes. And they're exactly that. You have one finger moving in a steady trill with a hammer on pull off, and another finger above it playing whole notes, changing every measure. So look at the PDF link, and here's the first example. There's a few things you want to work on here. You want even volume. So when your hammer-ons and pull-offs, you want them to sound even with each other. You don't want the hammer-on to be louder than the pull-off. And to do that, you actually have to make a real pull-off. So your finger actually has to move down towards the floor to make a pull-off happen. Let's look at the second example. It's a little tougher. Another thing you want to watch out for is bending the strings. If you bend the strings and don't press them straight down, it can affect the pitch, and you don't want that. It's part of the exercise. So that was a little harder because we have the pinky side on lower string, and you'll notice it makes the exercise a little harder on these. All right, let's go back to the first shape, but this time we'll trill the third finger to the pinky. So that one was pretty easy. One of the tricks to that one is you need to keep your pinky closer to the guitar than you think. Just lift it up high enough to get a good sounding pull off and a strong hammer on. Then the next shape is the same thing, but you flip it around. And this one is hard because you don't want your pinky to pull off too far and interrupt the held note on the A string. So that one is a bit tougher. All right, let's move on. The next one looks like this, and these are quite difficult, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Trying to move the third finger independently is hard. It's almost impossible, but you have to do it from these two joints. You have three joints on your finger. The first one, the big one, is the one that has the most freedom and independence. You want to use that one a lot. Then secondarily, this one. For this one, if you try to move this joint, this last one, independently, it takes your pinky to do it too. So typically what I do is I just kind of set those at a similar angle. And then as far as the hammer-on and the pull-off work, the hammer-on is mainly the big knuckle. Then with the pull-off, you get a little bit of this secondary knuckle. Let's look at the next one on here. Let's see, here we go. Same thing, just a flipped image. Here you don't want to pull off too far, again, or you'll stop the held note. All right, let's look at the next one. That's where we started, but now the pinky is going to do the trill. Yeah. And then the same thing on flip side. And then the next set looks like this. And then you flip that around. Yeah, this one you got to be careful. And I'll let the third finger mute the held note, like I just did right there when I pulled off. I'm going to do that one again. Takes a little more practice on some of these. That's why you should practice them slow. A lot of these you're going to want to do faster, but you need to start every day slowly. All right, now the pinky. It's so those are really good exercises, just like I played them. But let's go back to the first example. One thing that you can do to enhance the difficulty of this exercise is instead of just playing it like it's written, you can scoot a finger back so you can get a stretch in between a fret. I like this one, like the first finger reaching out, so like this. So it's the same thing, I've just got a gap in the first and second finger. Or, you know, maybe you do something where you have like the gap, the same one, but maybe the gap's in between the third and the fourth finger. And shoot, you could do it with a gap in between both fingers. First and second, and 3 and 4. These will give you a really solid chops and finger independence, build a lot of strength and coordination, especially if you're worried about keeping the pitch really even and not bending the strings, fretting in the right places by the fret, using minimal pressure, and getting even volume and tone on your hammer-ons and pull-offs. Another little bonus couple exercises I like, I use a lot at the beginning, is like this one. And of course, you want to take it to different strings, different positions. You know, you should do that with the trills with held notes too, definitely, once you learn them. And the same thing, but with pull-offs. Another thing is, you know, so I'm playing a nylon string guitar. I always warm up on nylon string guitar. The reason is it physically warms your hands up better and it trains you a little better. The strings, while they may not be as tense as some gauges of strings, or there might be as much tension, the strings are further from the fret, so it makes you have your coordination down a little bit better. Because you have to push the string down further, that means you kind of have to get started earlier, and it just exaggerates any mistake that you're going to make and highlights all your mistakes, which is really good for your technique, especially your left hand. So yeah, that's basically as far as finger independence. You know, that combined with the previous day's exercises, it's about the bulk of it. There's one more exercise that I'll probably show you tomorrow, these chromatic octaves and chromatic fifths. They're also really good for position-based finger independence. But we'll save those for a different time, and so until tomorrow, get some finger independence.